Hello, everyone. It is Thursday. These are my serious friends. And so it must be time for Irons. Oh, I said serious, not mopey. Uh,
Right, all right, all right, all right. I can't
these
do
are
faces on request. What can I
these are
say?
these are some of my amazing storyteller friends, which is what I should have called them the first time around. And that can only mean it's time for Ironsworn, the game where this week two of the characters are dead, and it's not going to make any difference.
Yep.
Uh,
The characters were dead to begin with.
Where the
You
story's
must
made up and the
understand up
mechanics don't
front, or
matter.
all the rest won't make any sense.
So
Or won't be
quickly
wondrous, or I don't
dotting
remember what the quote is, but anyway.
quickly dotting our i's and crossing our t's. We're playing Ironsworn in co-op mode, which means there is no DM. We're making it all up on the fly. Sean Tompkin, amazing game. Sorry for what we did to it.
I'm not
Ethan,
sorry.
I'm not sorry with the story, but we have left large portions of his text sort of unread and unused. But that's okay. I'm sure he's fine with it. Ethan, the character sheets in Roll20 are amazing and useful and wonderful. And I just realized I don't have mine open. That's why I'm looking over here while I'm continuing to talk. There we go. And these wonderful people who I will quickly thank before we start. Robin, thank you very much. Karis, thank you. And Austin, thank you for pulling yourself away from an unbelievably busy schedule to come and play a game with us for a couple hours. I appreciate it. If you fall asleep, I'll just yell really loud. I see you're wearing headphones.
Or is it you're welcome for giving you a bit of a break from that thing because you have an obligation?
Well, we'll ask him that question again in 3 hours. With that, the last episode ended in a very dark place, and that's for this story. It's still a very dark place. So we'll start like we always do, and we'll go around our little circle here, and from the character's point of view, we'll have a little chat about what happened last week. And this time I'm going first because I never go first. So Bill's talking to feet as always. You know, I thought we had it there for a minute. For about 3 beautiful, wonderful hours. I thought we were going to do this. I thought I was much bigger than I actually am. I thought the people I was with were a lot tougher than they actually were. I thought the help we were getting from nature itself would surely lead us to victory. But I never been so wrong in all my life, Feet. 2 of them are dead. I mean, one's just gone, the other one turned to dirt, Feet. Dirt. That's done. Stone a crow's feet, I don't know what to do now. I mean, we gotta keep going. If it were just me, I'd be gone. I'd be hidden. I'd be gone. I'd be in another half of the world by now. But I can't let Miss Carradwin down. Not after all this.
I spent all night thinking about what happened, what Bill said. And I mean, he's right. No matter how I feel or what's going on or what happened, we need to keep moving and to keep going. The world doesn't stop, even when it feels like it might, even when it feels like your own little pocket of the world does. Because it's much, much bigger than just us. And so when I woke up this morning with dew still chilled against the dying grass, the steading all but abandoned at this point, I'm kind of surprised no one stuck around to try and kill us while we slept, honestly. I just sat for a while and listened. Got that from gear, I guess. And I pulled my knife from the inside of my boot. And I cut my hair. A sign of mourning, a sign of surrender. But if I'm going home, I'm going home with the element of surprise, not as an unwitting prisoner.
He looked me dead in the eyes, and he asked, "Oi, what are you doing still around here?" As if, could you imagine him without me watching over? He wouldn't make it 10 feet. I can see the pain on their faces. I can understand it, but I can't watch them throw themselves upon the ground without hope of standing up. And so, I will walk alongside them with my new legs, the wind beneath my new wings. And whatever strange things stand in our way,
So it's one of those strange things. I was just floating on the breeze and I felt something shift back in one of my old stomping grounds. The humans there sometimes leave out gifts for me, and they're not much trouble, but something's up. And I got powerful curious and I had to go see. I flew on in, only to be hassled by a pesky pack of crows, one of them suspiciously bright in spirit. Don't know what happened to all the humans, only a few were around. I saw one over by the central fire with a spirit and a couple more of those bright guardians. Pesky guardians. I bet they're involved. I usually avoid them, but I was powerful curious. I kind of chose the middle ground between human and guardians and decided to chat with the spirit. It's an odd duck or dog or whatever it is. It kind of morphs, but it does so into the guardians rather than on its own. What kind of critter does that? It asked about wyverns. I knew it. Spirit business. I should stay out, but I get so darn curious. I did manage to go away long enough to do some fishing. At least whatever the spirits are up to doesn't seem to be affecting the river, so that's all to the good. It's limited. When I got back, one of the guardians had left, and there was another human there, all shadowy. I managed to draw that one and the other guardian off for a bit and resumed my chat with the spirit. That's an odd one, always trying to be present everywhere but where it is. I saw it again this evening flying with one of the guardians. I got powerful curious and followed to see whether it was going to the wyvern. But it didn't. It went to that old bear's cave. And that spirit told me not to scare it away. As if that old bear's chased me off loads of times. Spirit business. I was going to go back and check on that human, but I might hang around here a bit. These spirits and guardians could get interesting, and I'm powerful curious.
I love her so much.
That is a wonderful, wonderful, marvelous character.
I was this close to mentioning in the recap these brand new teeth that I was tempted to use.
For chomping pesky eagles with.
And a quick apology to anybody watching either the VOD or the first little bit of the YouTube replay, because anytime I spoke, there was an echo. So, oops. Hopefully, it didn't mess it up too bad. I forgot to put these
And
in.
I was doing the recap as the Harpy Eagle Kira, rather than
Kira.
Amala, because Amala did not appear last session.
That is, in fact, the case. And Gear
Amala's
made
dead.
appearances. Well, speaking
We'll
of, Gear
see
made
where Amala
appearances only in the most ephemeral of ways. Or fuzzy,
Although
or
we
feathered,
do
but
have a
And-
cutscene to do.
you do.
We
So
do.
let's go there.
We travel south.
We travel south. So there's, among the Kadi, one of the wagons is set up and it's dark inside with just a brazier for light, and there is steam and aromatics of hanging herbs. And a woman sits in there with that, and with coal black eyes that are very clearly blind, completely blind. And as she sits there, it's comfortable. She's got quite a lot of fabric around, which is a little odd considering how much steam there is. You'd think there'd be a lot of mildew and all, but it's actually comfy rather than soggy. And as she's going about some of her day-to-day sort of chore things, she's not actually sitting right at the brazier, but she stops and turns her head. You stand there, Elfer. Ask.
Something has shifted. I can feel an anxiety in the Feywood. So what's amiss?
Ah, yes. She goes over and she sits down among the paddings at her cauldron with the brass bowl above it, providing steam. And she leans in. Before I go too far into this, night before last, a warning call went out from Amala. And then last night, a tsunami has washed over many of the realms with a strong undertow drawing. I could just give you the simple answer of that is what is amiss.
You could.
Ask again.
What is amiss within the Feywood?
A shockwave has traveled through, and in its wake stands ghosts? Maybe just ghost.
Spirits.
A vision of Amala works in Milva's garden. A vision of Amala tends Buando's goats. A vision of Amala takes light from shamans and closes a lantern.
Just visions of Amala.
But the visions cross all of the realms of the firstborn. All of the realms. She exhorts a pack of the Varu. The trolls are asking about her. The Atanya of the North have turned and packed to leave. All of the firstborn are heeding something.
What does this mean for us? What of her companions?
Devastation comes our way. Edgemore fell first, then Chillwater, then Kinheim, then Malwind. Malwind is the wrong way. Frostmouth is under siege. But the wave is coming south. The Iron Bearers hasten. They're afraid their goal might be missed. They're in a rush to finish.
What can we
And
do to protect ourselves?
The best that we can do is take shelter at home. Their wards may be enough to resist the wave that comes. It will come in 3 days.
Let us know if you see anything else.
As you wish.
which I guess leaves Caradwin and Bill. Oops. I guess leaves
Are you
Caradwin
guys
and
ready?
Bill in the town, the remains of the town. I guess no people, just the buildings left. And the other two. How about we touch base with Gear for a second? We don't really know what we got his recap, but where is Gear right now? I know we can't really
Gear.
ask that question of Amala. She's not really anywhere.
Gear stands in some kind of cave, ancient and massive, carved by claws into the side of this mountain. A burrow, maybe, a place where something very large and very old can sleep. And with its now crimson-stained silver hide quickly bleeding onto the cave floor, Gear stands alongside the old, tired, but now free mother spirit of a silver bear. Tired, well beyond when it should have passed. There are not usually two of the same spirits that walk the plane at the same time, but in this case, Gear was too late. This one was forced to stay behind so it could guide him.
Is the Uwilla there as well, or was it just Gear?
Now, the Red Crest was not able to come inside the cave. It is still out, sitting in the trees, keeping watch, in case anything else were to come this way.
And is the White Mane still with Gear and or Bill and Amal?
Mhm.
Whoever's alive still, I guess. I can't think his name.
Back at Mullen.
It's
With
it's you.
the
It's
flesh
you that you
walkers.
forgot in that sentence.
Yeah.
With Bill and whoever the fuck.
Yeah, whoever the fuck she is. I don't know. She's not important.
Yes, the White Mane would be watching over Bill and Caradwin because they're really sad at the moment and not functioning as well as they should
I
be.
wonder why they're sad.
Mhm.
What is this strange liquid that comes from your eye holes?
Sweating from my eyes.
It's dusty in here. Piss off. Which
Gear walks in and sees everybody crying and goes,
even ghost pits. Even the ghost pits are bad. I smell dog. He's alive.
No, it's just the White Mane. Never mind.
Yeah. So, I guess, yeah, speaking of that, the next morning, Caradwin and Bill and the White Mane, and I wanted to call him Bram. It's Brom, right?
Brom.
He's not a child. He's not a child singer. He's okay.
okay, Brahm is MVP, dude. Every time I
Yeah.
listen to the recaps, it's like, Brahm is like our rock.
Yep.
Always
Brahm is
there,
our buddy.
anytime somebody looks up, he's still there, not tied to anything, just like, I do what I want.
Yeah.
I do what I want, but I kind of stay close to this one because I like her.
I'm
Yeah.
wherever I need to
Rejoice.
be.
Rejoice, mortal. I have graced you with my presence.
There was a video game when you called your horse, it was always just off screen. So you'd call your horse and then look to the right and there it was. Or you'd call your horse, you could stand in a circle, spin in a circle, there's no horse. You hit call my horse, you turn slightly to the left, there's
I
your
know
horse.
I know Dragon Age had that for a bit in the third.
Anyway, we're avoiding this horrible moment. So we should probably get back to this horrible moment.
So yeah, when I think we ended with Bill waking up and Caradwin was getting Brum and the other horse ready, and she had cut her hair and said, we should get going.
Yes, we should, miss. So you're all right with the plan then?
Seems good. Won't be great, but we can do what we can.
And we still got to do something about that wyvern.
I figure the closer we get to Frostma, the closer we get to where the wyverns roost. If it's there, we'll find it. If the
Trying to
rider's
look-
not, we'll have to look harder.
I'm trying to look at the white man. Well, if you're anything to go by, it'll find us. And if not, we've got a pretty good nose here for hunting. Kind of push the dog because I'm sure he's giving me the big puppy dog eyes. This 400-pound sort of demigod wolf looking at me going, "You look sad."
Friend.
Yeah.
Still, the red that was from the nose to the ears is now orange.
Yeah, it'll be a couple days. We'll get you fed soon, buddy. Don't worry about it. Yeah, and then hop up on
It'll
the horse.
snow
and-
from here to Frostma. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Got plenty of time for bath time.
We have a day's journey to Stormhole. That's the next stepping. Hopefully, we'll be able to get there and through with less trouble.
Well, only one way to find out. It's
And
time to
that
roll some
means-
dice, miss.
Yes, it is time to roll some dice.
Undertake a
And
journey
we'll
for us.
hopefully
If
get
you-
Ooh, it's
there
been a minute.
without too much
Yeah.
trouble. Famous last words.
Yeah, you know.
I know Kevin caught it during the recap. Bone walkers.
Um,
Oh, that is good coffee. Oh, my. Oh, there you go. Strong hit. Nothing happened. We happily get through the day. Nothing happens. All right, we can go home.
yeah, strong hit. You reach a waypoint, and it's not unknown to us. So, well, it's not
Yeah.
unknown to me. And then you choose one, make good use of your resources, mark progress, move at speed, take one of them.
And as you get there, you can see it is unusually active and all a bustle because they're trying to deal with what refugees there are from Malland.
And there was, as I remember from 2 episodes ago, there was someone who'd been watching in the trees who went ahead.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who before the whole massacre was complete, and so they've probably had word of what happened before then. But yes, they are kind of dealing with the aftermath of the people that fled to Stormhole, because I'm sure there's some that went to Stormhole, some that went to Kenheim.
Absolutely.
The ones with livestock and stuff probably went to Kenheim because they don't want to go through the mountains. So
So we get there. Sorry, we dropped out and I had to fix it on the fly, but we're back now. So yeah, what do we see as we pull over the hill? You said there's people there. There's the all the.
It's
some
unusually
refugees are there, but-
bustling as they're trying, and there's some hurried building as they're trying to make some shelters. Some people they're going to send further on to Bittermere. It's yeah.
Sorry, I
it's
missed that. Thank you.
unusually active as you come up. It's
yeah,
quite
they're
a
not
bustle.
necessarily made to house there's not a bunch of people coming through, but they're not necessarily made to house more than like a couple people extra. It's kind of like
Sure.
they're kind of interspersed strategically to hold a certain amount of people to kind of can't really expand in the mountains without like digging a hole in a mountain. And so
And you might be surprised and relieved at how many people managed to flee Malwind.
mhm.
Cool. Okay.
So
So,
we
yeah,
didn't kill all of them.
We didn't kill everybody, no.
No.
Not everyone, just
I
decimated a
tried,
good chunk.
you know, it's like
Well, it looks like a bit of mayhem down there, so at least maybe we can sort of
sneak through.
Blending, as it were.
We can hope, but I doubt it. Just let's try to stay on the outskirts and see if we can pass through without drawing too much attention.
I understand, but I got a question for you before we go in, if I might.
Yes?
Your heir,
Yes?
did you do that for your brother?
No. I did this hopefully to garner some form of understanding from the people we meet. If I were to walk in there on my own, they'd shoot me on sight, from what they've heard. But it's more symbolic than anything, as a sign of mourning, a sign of surrender. At the very least, they will believe that I have some sort of remorse for what happened to Malwind, and I do. But at least they may believe it better.
Well, I don't know much about where you're from, miss, but what I do know is most places I've been, pardon the phrasing, miss, but if you're in mourning, you can get away with murder.
Let's hope so, Bill.
I hope so. And just in case you can't, you're right, we should stay to the outskirts and get around. I mean, I'll go steal us a bit of grub.
If we want to make it to Frostmouth, we have to get through Stormhole and Bittermere, and it's best if we do that quickly.
And I expect there's at least one critter on the way we're gonna have to find.
Undoubtedly. The very least we'll have to find one of our own critters. Seems the crows and the red crest have both left.
I noticed that. I also noticed that this one ain't left yet. I look down at the white mane.
You look up at the white mane.
Up at the well,
Yeah,
I'm
the
on
white mane's
horseback,
huge.
so I'm on horseback.
Yeah, we're on
so-
horses.
So I look
Not
across
bigger
at
than
the
a horse
white
yet.
mane. Yeah.
You could ride the white mane instead
Yes,
of riding
I
the horse.
seriously considered it when we were talking about it earlier, but I thought it would be rude to ride a force
Yeah.
of nature. So
Only Gear can do
even
that.
Bill's not that arrogant. Yeah.
Bill riding a white wolf wreathed in shadow armor.
Yeah. Yeah. Great scene, wrong game.
With a cockroach sticking its head up over his shoulder.
And the antennae are like
with a little armored helmet. Yeah. Yeah, right scene, wrong game, definitely.
So, yeah, again, there's not really a way to go around a waypoint in the mountains because
Yeah.
there's there for a reason. But Caravan Wills try to skirt the edge and like maybe with the amount of people going through, try to go unnoticed.
I think that's perfectly
And-
reasonable.
And there isn't a heavy armed gate. There isn't an armed wall on this village the way there was at Malwind. And the people that you see around are busy and are working on things. And yeah, they might look over and take notice, but they don't really seem to take any particular notice of you. And they look, no, okay, and they continue on with what they're doing.
And it's possible they might not know what Caravan looks like. They just know that, she was there. Because like it's not like she knows
Once,
the person
well,
in the setting.
which I won't say.
Oh. I mean, whatever you want to do, but I just don't think that like every single person would know exactly what she looks like, and they're all tired and working and stuff. So.
Well, and if you think about the
on-
people who actually made it out of Malwind into here, wouldn't have been in a position to see our party and what we did.
Yep. The only one who would really be able to report was the person that left ahead of time.
And they would probably all be asleep right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they made this trip on foot.
Yeah.
So
At
yeah,
night.
we yeah.
There's a
I don't
lot
even
of
think there needs to
stairs
be a
for the
roll for
wolf.
that, right? Yeah.
A lot of stairs for the wolf.
Oh, I'm sure.
But
Yeah.
if anything,
But
that
none
is a
particularly taken
deterrence.
of you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
no
if
particular
anything,
notice is
it's a
taken of you
deterrent,
aside
right?
from the wolf.
It's a deterrent.
Somebody
and
goes,
it
"Hey, isn't that
distracts.
the yeah?" Somebody goes, "Hey, isn't that
All
the
they
wolf?" Goes,
see-
Is it? Never mind.
All they see are waist and legs behind the wolf.
Carradine can easily duck behind.
Yeah.
Well, and she's traveling with someone who can literally cloak himself in shadow. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
we're good in here.
Yeah.
I'm sure that would
Given
go
all of
well
that,
here.
yeah. We move our way through and out the other
Yeah,
side,
and
I think.
I imagine that since it takes about a day to get the Stormhole, we'd probably camp outside of it on the other side, just
Yeah.
like so there
Distance
it's
away
there,
in the
but we're
trees,
not
yeah.
inside. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well then,
So you
the
guys-
only two of us, this is going to be slightly more challenging, but you want to stay up the first half of the night, or you want me to wake you up in the middle of the night and you stay up the second half? Either way, neither one of us are getting much sleep.
I can stay up.
And what
Alright,
did Gear do all day?
Yeah.
I did.
Well, are
just
you
one
guys
more
going
thing
hunting?
before they actually
She
go
will.
to sleep that night. Yeah, he just kind of casually drops into the conversation. And if I disappear for a couple minutes, don't you worry about it.
I won't.
'Cause
I'm
let's
gonna
see,
go.
The bear cave was up here.
I'm gonna go see if I can resupply quickly before you go to sleep.
Take the big furry arsehole with you.
Of course.
I
And
would've-
so go out.
I would imagine it would be kind of demoralizing because when you go hunting, that expectation of the wolf to hunt like Gear again to confirm your thoughts doesn't happen because he's not there.
Well, I think that'll be like just it must have just been off because like she was missing Gear and I was seeing Gear in places where he wasn't. And so it's less, I guess, demoralizing and more just like confirms I must have just been like out of my head for a minute because like it's the white man, it's not Gear.
Hopes deleted.
You say that with
Yeah.
such
Are you
glee,
sure
Austin.
you wish to delete hope? Yes,
For-
no.
404 Gear not found.
Speaking of gear not found.
Ooh, we're supplied.
Okay, wow, yes.
You're making these rolls look easy, man.
Yeah,
I
with
know.
very little to no help from the wolf. Yeah, we are back. So that takes us back up to 5, right?
This is Caradwin's like
This is your
space. Like this is
backyard,
where
yeah.
she's used
Yeah,
to hunting.
I mean, this is
So-
just there's a blind you built here that you use to hunt deer, right? You know where the
Yeah.
trails are. Yeah.
Yeah, like she hasn't necessarily hunted in this space particularly, but like she knows the
So-
space. She is only at 2 spirit, so you know.
Well, that's perfect. Because I was going to ask, how does that make her feel? As thrashed as she is, maybe the whole maybe brother thing, all of a sudden, with everything else in the world that's going on, you step into the forest with that wolf creature, and you're home.
That's exactly what it is. It feels like coming home when she knows that actually going to her home is not going to feel that way. She knows that it's going to be bad and ugly and probably the end of something. And so it feels comforting in one of, I guess, the only ways she knows how to be comforted in this moment, because I mean, Bill is Bill, and like
Yep.
they don't like they just aren't a full circle right now, and her brother's out there and her other circle is probably going to want to kill her, like, so it's just kind of like the one thing that she finds solace in that. Won't necessarily judge her if she does poorly, but it feels nice to be able to do it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And yeah, so the hunt is easy. This is your world, and you bring back this animal for us to take us up to 5 supply, I believe. We're back up to
Yes,
full now.
we're back up
Yes.
to full.
I brought my
And
So what?
supply up to 5.
Yep. Your psychic feastings.
You don't have to eat. Well, the wolf mane, I guess the white mane does, and so in that regard,
So
yes.
yeah, in as much in time as space mean anything where they are, what are gear and whatever character Karis chooses to bring to the table next? What are they up to? Well, we
Well,
had
I
because we just did a
know.
whole day of travel, so I just want to give you guys an opportunity.
I'm pretty
to...
sure it was probably boring and cold and sad.
And so Gear would have been traveling with this bear. And it's very disheartening because this bear is tired and sore and old. And as it walks through the trees, it moves slowly. Not at the pace that Gear would like to set, but he has no choice but to walk with it. And he doesn't notice it at first, but over the course of the first day, traveling, using all the abilities he has to hunt, to see, to listen, to move through the trees. By the end of the first day, he notices that this monstrous bear on its hind legs could probably crumple the trees around us with ease, has shrunk. It is clearly diminishing.
And it is the spirit and not the body. You left the body back in the cave.
Mm-hmm. But even then, the spirit, its time is not long for this world.
Which direction are you traveling?
I think we would be headed.
Are you following the bear looking for the cubs, or are you heading towards Bill and Caradwin, or are you doing something else?
It's a combination of using the bear's heading and its kind of continuous plodding pace and scouting ahead, searching for signs. Every once in a while, he'll catch something, a pile of refuse left behind, sharpening claws on a tree, things that are days old. But he would be moving progressively kind of northwesterly.
Towards Frostmouth? The bear cave is where the gray box is on the map.
Alternatively, what are the chances that on her hunt Caradwin sees anything like it? Or any of the cubs or anything?
Ooh.
Because we're in that area and she's a
We
tracker.
have an oracle for that.
I know.
Just how, I mean, it's got to be a pretty small chance.
Yeah.
I mean, to run
Well,
into.
very
Oh.
small if he's moving northwest, because he's moving away from the
I
track
guess,
that you're
yeah,
going.
Yeah.
he would be moving a little bit more northeasterly then.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're going northeast,
He would
they're
be headed
going-
towards westward.
Yeah, you're going kind of towards
That's northwest.
westward's
Oh.
way northwest.
I
So
thought I was
Yeah.
over here.
no,
That's
no,
the
no,
bear,
no.
yeah.
That's the bear icon. No, the bear cave is the little box down here.
Oh. Then yes, I would be heading northwesterly. I was right the first time, and then I doubted myself.
Okay, northwest, so that's towards Frostmouth.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering
if
why
you-
the bear was so far away. I was like,
If you're kind of following the bear, though, if you're looking for the cubs are not going to be towards Frostmouth.
oh, where's the bear leading me then?
Well, the bear's going to head you closer to Stormhole. Because remember, whatever the bear was afraid of was in the direction of Frostmouth. It wouldn't have sent its cubs that way.
Okay.
So, for those that just showed up for our raid, thank you. Hello, welcome. Two of our characters are incorporeal at the moment. Luckily, that's the whole bottom row. One of them is leading a spirit bear on a epic quest. The other one is basically refusing to tell us what their character is doing, and I'm loving it. So that's where we are. And the two of us that are left alive are about to head into a place where everybody wants to kill at least one, if not both of them. So that's the recap. So that leaves us. I have to
Okay,
call
but
you
where's
by
Kira?
your name. Yeah, Karis. What?
Where's Kira?
Yes, where's
Kira
Kira?
is
Or yeah,
The harpy eagle. Where is Kira?
Kira is following Gear and the bear with fascination.
I'll bet. Yeah.
Because it's not the big old bear that chased her off several times before. This is okay. This is smaller. This is a spirit, and pesky spirit business. But I get powerful curious.
So
Love
you're
her so
hopping
much.
along
She's
tree to
great.
tree, following the spirit bear, and you
Ooh,
can.
fish!
Yeah, and then yeah. Oops, you have to catch up.
The
And you
only
can.
harpy eagle with ADD.
And did we determine whether you can speak directly to Gear? You can, right?
She can.
Yeah.
She
Okay.
Kira
has.
can talk to Gear. Yeah.
So you can see him and talk to him.
There
just
has
so
been
everybody's
no
clear,
evidence of Kira talking to anyone other than Gear.
Right.
Yeah, she can
Only the
communicate with
squawking that has
Gear
been talked at
and-
Caradwin.
She was talking to the white mane, correct? Or was she not talking to the white mane in that?
She has only talked to Gear so far.
Okay. Just
I
clarification.
think Gear
on
was
that.
in the white mane at that moment. So yes, not that it's
Yes.
confusing at all, but anyway.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
it's not that we're-
she's and in the recap, she can distinguish between the guardians and this spirit that's an odd duck or dog or whatever he is.
Yes. All right.
It tries to be everywhere except where he is, and she finds that interesting. So
So
And it would
Caradwin
probably-
and Bill's. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
It would probably be kind of strange because Kira would be watching this strange spirit who has these brand new, beautiful, strong spirit wings, not using them, just walking slowly through the forest with this massive bear.
well, she
So
knows
what
the
is-
bear.
Yeah. Does she make herself known to Gear, or does she just watch?
She isn't hiding. I mean, she's flying at a distance, and she's kind of
Mhm.
nervous about getting too close because
I mean, she's rather
you never
loud.
know what those guardians are gonna
Yeah.
do. It's
Right.
like, and she's powerful, curious, and yeah, probably midday. Her curiosity is going to overcome her aversion to the guardians, and yeah, she's
I
gonna
can see it
circle
now.
and come down.
It's hey, what are you guys doing?
Oh, so she'll come down and sort of land.
And so
What
you've probably
you
seen,
doing?
and Gear and the bear would have stopped again, as they have multiple times along this trip, where he's coaxing this bear along against its exhaustion, and he's having to kind of reach and pull it up, not so much physically, but kind of spiritually pulling this animal along with him, because all it wants to do is lay down and disappear. but he is pushing this bear onward.
And this bear that has chased Kira off so often is now being sort of shoved and driven along by this crazy spirit thing. So what you doing? Hop, hop, hop.
We're looking for something.
Ooh, I like looking for things. I've looked for all sorts of things.
We're looking for a small silver bear. It'll be a cub.
And she kind of pauses and lets you guys go ahead a little bit.
And they keep moving,
And then
plodding
kind
slowly.
of follow behind, but staying kind of like, what do you want with the cubs?
They're in danger.
Well, duh, they're cubs.
Do you remember the wyvern? The one with the iron.
Yes! Wait, what?
The one with the iron driven into its wings.
Was that what happened to it?
Hmm.
Yeah.
The bears are next.
With the iron?
Hmm.
You're not the one doing that, are you?
No. I'm keeping them away from it.
Oh. And she looks at the bear. Are you okay with this? And then she kind of shuffles back a little bit, like she's expecting to be swiped at.
And there's this powerful, exhausted, sad moan from the bear. It's not even able to fully open its mouth and get the sound out.
Wait a minute. I've heard of you. You're the Guardian's guardian, aren't you? What did they call that? They called that something. Some human thing. I don't remember. Ah, this is pesky. Can't do this. And she turns and she transforms just right there into a mountain lion. Ah, there, that's much better. No pesky wings trying to go along. I can walk with this. If you're gonna walk, pesky walking. I like flying. Flying's kind of fun. You've got wings. How come you're not flying?
This bear, it can only walk. It has no strength left. I've kept it here far longer than its life should allow.
It's a spirit. It can fly.
I don't think it has the strength anymore.
And she looks over at the bear. I'm at a different desk, so I can't get up close to the camera.
The time of this spirit is over. Now is the time of the cubs, which is why we are looking for them.
So does that mean I should tell you where they are?
If you know,
And she kind of growls a little bit as she paces back and forth. And looks suspiciously at you. She paces back and forth. And what is the bear doing? Who's got ideas about what the bear's doing here in response to Kara?
I think the time that you've been pacing back and forth and Gear's been standing there, it's collapsed again, kind of under its own weight. trying to slip off into sleep, and Gear is trying to rouse it once again to coax it just a few more steps.
And Kira comes up and kind of leans up against it with just that rumbling down in her chest. I'll show you.
Gear will reach his hands around this bear now that's grown to be smaller than him and pull on it, not on any physical form, but just spirit contact, lift it up off the earth again, and coax it into a few more unsteady steps as they begin to follow the mountain line.
And Kira is about the most somber you've seen her. It's off this way. And she directs and she takes you. She shifts slightly. So we're headed towards the purple X on the map, and we're about halfway there. Although we could skip ahead because we would get there looking at distances. You were moving slowly. We would get there by around midnight, maybe.
Yeah.
Because we don't have horses and we're moving slowly even for foot.
Yeah, so you
Should
guys
we
might as
see
well keep
what
going.
the live people are doing?
Let's go see what the live people are doing.
Live
Okay.
people.
Well-
Caradon resupplied and got a strong hit there, and so she would have come back, and then would
So
divvy
yes,
up
Bill.
for
I'm assuming it's a pretty quiet evening, and then Bill turns in to leave Carradine to have her watch. So that is a
Is that gather information? It's been a bit.
that's what we did.
It's official. We have rolled more dice this episode than the last 2 episodes
Ooh.
combined.
Ooh.
Ha!
Oof.
I mean, it was bound to happen at this point, honestly.
So that's a bad fail. Yep.
That's a bad. It's not as bad as one of my other ones. That was like a double 10 on a 4 or whatever. It was like
Well, this is pretty close, but anyway.
This is pretty close.
That's a big oof, man.
Yeah, big ol' oof. So yeah, Caradwin will kind of set up shop, keeping watch, kind of keeping Stormhole to her back in a way, because if anything is happening back there, aside from someone coming out to see them, they'll hear about it, and so she's kind of keeping the other way open for observation. And it's just kind of like sitting. Oh, you have an idea?
Oh, I have a horrible thought. You finish your story, and then I'm going just before you start. I have something I need to do a roll, an oracle roll.
She's used to watching in this area, so she's kind of used to looking at all the mountains and kind of noticing movements if there's something that's amiss or anything like that. She also spends some time kind of feeling for the tether she has with Amala, because she tried that the day before, and is that still there from what she can tell?
Yep, it's gone.
Because last time
she
couldn't tell a direction of where it was going, but she knew it was still there.
There's a faint direction on it.
Okay.
Let's see, you are just northwest of Stormhole.
Mm-hmm.
There is a faint direction northwest.
Okay. Okay. So she'll kind of catalog that in the back of her head, not sure
It's,
what to do
yeah,
with
it still feels kind of the same as it was, but it's like it's mostly here, everywhere, nowhere, but there's just a very hint of directionality to it.
Yeah, I think she was more checking to see, like, is it gone?
It's
Is
not
it
gone.
still there? Is Amala still here? Like, she's like trying to assess, like, with her what
It
little
doesn't.
she knows.
Yeah, it doesn't feel. You don't feel Amala's presence. You don't
Mhm.
sense Amala there with you.
Yeah. But so yeah, she just kind of keeps on looking and keeping an eye out. So if Kevin has an idea of a horrible, horrible thing,
I like these ideas.
See, I was hoping that, I was waiting for you to have a horrible idea because my plan just makes it worse.
okay.
So
What
yeah, what comes out of the darkness? That's the easy answer, or the easy question.
the easy question is
Oh, it's somebody from the village. I mean, they're right there, right? Somebody recognized us on the way through.
no, the
If you want something along those lines, there is somebody arriving from the road from Bittermere.
Bittermere. Yep.
That
Yeah,
recognizes
if you want
you
that
sitting
kind
there
of
at
a
the
thing, there
campfire.
is
Yeah.
somebody arriving carrying news.
Yep,
Carrying
yep.
news to Stormhole.
So you see that coming down the road. You turn and look, and Bill is gone.
Fun.
That was
Fun.
the 50-50 roll I made. Whether he had, because as soon as he laid down, he was going to go into shadows and go and try and do some stuff. So
So yeah,
had
Karen
he
will
or
look
hadn't
over,
he? And I rolled less than
and-
50, so he had.
and he'll
so.
be gone. And Karen will
Solo.
look up, and she will see this person coming from Bittermere, and
Pew.
no, not necessarily,
This is a
because
person traveling in haste. They've got a horse. They're traveling in haste. The horse is looking really tired, and they're coming into Stormhole.
Caradwin will kind of like pull back a little bit closer to Stormhole, kind of like with her back to like a tree, to kind of see if she can get a sense without hopefully them noticing. Which, with a miss, they notice her. Like,
Yeah.
Well, and with that gather information, you're not going to overhear any mutterings of what it is,
No.
what the news is.
not unless they directly see me. Like, you know, like I figure they've caught sight of her. That's what I figure.
Yeah.
And she sees them.
Although
and she
you're not getting anything hostile with that. I mean, yes, there's, the messenger comes in, heads over towards the headman's place. There is churning going on. There is suddenly a lot more activity, even though it's after dark. Things had been quieting down, and suddenly we've got activity going again. People are gearing up, are gathering in horses. There is suddenly a bunch of stuff moving.
And
But
so
you can't tell what the news was with that miss.
yeah, well, and Bill's gone. So what she's going to do is she's going to grab cloak, traveling cloak, because we're in the mountains, kind of like cover her face a little bit so that she's not like directly outing herself, and then go in and try to see if she can like ask somebody like what's going on, what's happening.
Would that be face
So
danger?
who do you approach to ask?
Not
Not
the guy
any-
on the horse.
Not the guy on the horse.
No, because he's zoomed in and he's off in the.
She's gonna go up to probably one of the one of the women that's kind of like looks like she's in charge of something or another, but not necessarily like head man or anyone like super like high up in the ranks, because then they definitely know who she was. But just someone who looks like they know what's happening and know what they're doing.
And so she sees you, and as you come up to ask her a question, she's lifted a pair of loaded saddlebags, hands it to you, and said, "Here, take this over to that pen over there." And she turns back to what she's doing and starts picking up the next thing to load up the next person.
What's going on?
I don't know. I just know we're armoring up for Frostmouth. Go. The people are going to need that.
And she'll bring that back. And then she's going to take off the cloak and go to the headman.
Oh.
And she won't. She's not even going to knock or anything. She's just going to walk in. Why are
What do
you going to
you-
Frostmesh? What's happening?
Why do you care? You're Caradwin, aren't you?
And if I am,
Baddens? Why do you care? You left. Leave this to us who care about it. And he's starting to gather.
why
They've got a
are
map
you
in front of them.
going to Frostsmith?
They're under siege.
From what?
Well, the tale that the messenger came didn't make any sense, so I don't know what we're going to find. Something about metal and iron and
A wyvern?
oh, how did you know?
Because that is what I'm trying to stop.
Well, I'm hearing there's a wyvern, there's at least one man made out of metal, maybe three. I can't quite tell. There is a savage horde. They have got Frostmouth under siege.
And what are you thinking you're going to do when you get there?
Fight! What do you think we're doing? We're going to try and get a supply line in. You're taking up my time. Either help or get out of the way. And he's back on the maps with his sort of lieutenants and the messenger, and they're marking
And she
out
will
some stuff.
smack the table to get their attention. You are dealing with something you don't understand, so you had better listen well. These things are not like anything else you've faced. I know, because I have faced them. They are dangerous, they are evil, and they are dealing with forces beyond your ken. They are dealing with spirit animals, they are dealing with iron, they are dealing with shadow. Do you understand any of that?
And he looks a little troubled. I understand some of it.
Believe what you will about me and what people have said, but I care about Frostsmith. I care about this clan, and I am doing everything I can to try and save it.
Well, then go find Vadden's cache that disappeared. Get us the iron we need to fight these things.
Vadden's cache. What cache?
His cache of iron that we've been gathering for, I don't know, 5 or 6 seasons now.
Why did he tell you to collect iron?
For making up weapons. He said something was coming. And this is probably it, and we don't have it. It went missing several 10 days ago, I think. He sent a messenger about it.
And it was gone.
And it was gone.
Just be alert and know that you cannot fight these things with weapons alone.
Well, weapons is what we've got, and we're going to do with what we can with what we've got. If you've got something else to help us, by all means, get it in. I'm getting who I can. We're heading up to Bittermere. We're going to coordinate there with those folks. I assume runners have gone to Chillwater and Edgemore.
Get anyone you know who is sensitive to rituals.
And who's that up here? You know us as well as anyone. We haven't got any shamans here.
Then find some. There are people everywhere. I've learned that. There are people that are sensitive to it. They don't have to be experts. But you need something more than
you
metal
go look
and
for
bronze.
them then. You go. I wouldn't even know how to look for them. You go look for them. Let us deal with what we know about.
Then you will die.
Well, Frostmouth will die if we don't. We'll do what we can.
You never saw me. And she leaves.
Nice.
And
So
where
Bill-
she had slapped the table is one of those hooks of iron that were left behind from gear.
Ooh, Feet gave them to her.
And she left them one of those.
Okay.
Interesting. My cockroach
I'm
is a
glad you
traitor.
guys. I'm glad you guys are so flippant with the iron that was literally embedded in my ribs.
It's not anymore, and you're dead, so get over it.
Come on, Gear. Like you would care.
Valid point.
Speaking
Life
of
is
which,
temporary. We're supposed to stop being sad. So you know what? We're gonna get rid of the iron that was in your bones.
Good point.
uh,
Using my own
the
logic
cockroach
against
gave-
me.
And a cockroach gave them to her. So,
I'm
yes,
not gonna say that.
you got
Like,
it. Yeah.
Here, take this. A cockroach gave it to me.
but yeah, she's gonna go back and try to find Bill and say, "Screw the watch. We're heading towards Frostman."
Can you see
Yeah.
Bill showing up out of shadow and be like, "Oh, Kiradwin."
Well, meanwhile, in shadow, as soon as he lays down to go to sleep, he's just, and it's a full shadow walk this time. And he stands up in that alternate world, looks at his shoulder and feet standing there just ready. Look around. All right then, dog boy. You were pretty good at hiding when you were in the whole forest hiding. Let's see how good you are in my backyard. Here, little Gear. Where are you? Here, little Gear. Come on, I'll smell you out, I will. I'll sniff until I find your stinky arse. You smell like dog, you do. I'll find you in a heartbeat. And he starts looking for Gear in the land of shadows.
What does he
What
find?
if Oh, we're gonna. Okay, I get to answer my own question. I love this. It doesn't make any
Or-
sense. Mm-hmm.
What finds him?
It was kind of a little bit of both. He's looking. He's focused, and it's the Shadowland is weird. Intentions become actions. So he's thinking about looking for Gear, and as he's thinking that, he's moving to different places in this realm, sort of feeling, smelling for Gear, for lack of a better phrase. And he keeps getting distracted because every time he gets the scent, the bloody white mane interrupts in front of him. Oh, it's not you I was smelling. You smell different, but now I can't smell him no more. Bugger off, bugger off. And then again, and oh, I got him, he's over here. So boom, the white mane's in again, just over and over and over, cutting him off. And then finally he just stops and looks at this. There's this click. This big white wolf is standing in the world of shadows. How the hell did you get in here? And the white man just grabs his belt and pulls. Come on, come on. What, you're taking me to him, are you? All right then, I should have just followed you from the beginning. Pull, pull, pull. And he pulls one more time, and Bill's back laying on his bedroll by the fire. And the white mane lets go of his belt and walks over to the trees and sits down. I look over at him. You little shit, you piece, I should like you, I should feed you. Oh shit.
And that's when Caradwin comes storming back from inside Stormhole
Yeah.
and like murderous on a mission and is like, "Bill, get up. We're leaving."
Moon's
Right,
haunted.
right.
We're skipping Bittermere. We're going straight through to Frostman.
Right. What did you do in there, miss? Because
I asked
the
what was-
town's just behind you.
Yeah, and
right?
he didn't see the messenger go
Yeah.
through.
A messenger came through from Bittermere and said that Frostmouth is under attack and they're calling for troops. We're going straight to Frostmouth. There are men made of metal and a wyvern on their way to Frostmouth.
I
Men.
knew we'd find that bloody thing.
So we're not going to
Well.
Bittermere. We're going straight through the pass, and we're going to the Frostmouth. It'll cut a few days off of our journey, but it's going to be hard.
What do you think we're gonna find there, miss?
I don't know, but I know that they don't stand a chance without someone who actually knows what they're dealing with.
Let's ride and talk, miss, because I would like to talk a bit about that wyvern. And I'm just wondering if there's a way to get them big metal spikes out without... He just stops because he was about to say how we got them out of gear.
They said that Vadin had them holding a cache of iron here to make weapons out of, and that it went missing a couple days ago. I think I know where that ended up.
That'll be our big metal fella then.
Yes.
Him again. You know what I'd like to do, miss? I'd like to hit that bugger with a bunch of salt water until he rusted into nothing is what I'd like to do to him.
Same. Me as well.
You know
And-
what, miss? This might be an opportunity.
For what?
Well, they can't rightly kill you if you're an hero, can they?
They can do whatever they want.
Well, let's see how they feel after you save this bloody city. Let's go then, shall we?
He said Vadin knew something was coming. They've had them collecting iron for 6 or 7 seasons. Vadin didn't believe in rituals. That's what he said. So how would he know something like this was coming?
Well, you don't have to believe in rituals if you have someone who does.
Come on, let's go. And she will take you on a path that is not very well worn and is kind of snowed over through the mountains
Yes.
rather than on the path, because that will make it like 2 days to Frostmouth rather than 4.
Mm-hmm.
You head up towards the purple X. How convenient.
Yeah, how convenient. We catch up
Not
through there
convenient,
because we'll
narratively
make it
necessary.
there sooner. We'll make it there sooner than any kind of contingent from Stormfall will. And any messenger from Melwood.
So it is
Good point.
still the middle of the night. I mean, there was 0 rest there. Neither one of us got any for sure. So there's no, there's certainly no sojourn or no making camp for us this evening.
Nope.
As we
Well, no,
ride
we
off.
would have made camp because she went hunting and we were just going on the watches, so we would have made a camp.
Yeah,
Just
we just
long
didn't get
enough
any
to
rest.
put it back together.
Yeah.
We didn't. We certainly didn't get any rest out of the deal.
No.
So
So I guess I gotta
with
roll
that,
another
the two of
journey
us
one.
head off into the snowy, miserable, wintry wilderness that looks like what's behind my head here. Somebody's
Yeah,
rolling.
that-
Okay.
That makes sense
Okay.
for going
Yep.
through the mountains.
It's a struggle.
It's hard.
Absolutely.
It's hard, especially
Yeah,
for
you're
like
beginning to.
Caravan and Brom are used to it in that regard. They've done it before. It's hard, but they've done it. But Bill has never done it, and his horse has never done it, and the White Man has never done it.
So we're going
So-
slower than you thought. So, like every hour that passes, you're losing part of that advantage, that 2-day advantage you thought you were getting. So I imagine that's getting.
But well,
pretty
I mean,
frustrating
it'll
for
still
sure.
be an advantage. It's just it's hard and it's
Yeah.
taxing and
Physically demanding. Absolutely.
yeah, it's a bit like
should we
slogging.
endure stress? Does that make sense? Is it that bad? I mean, it was a weak hit. If it was a strong hit, I would say endure harm. I would say we got hit by an avalanche or something.
Yeah. You know, I think
Or
we
if it
could
was a
endure
fail, I mean.
stress. Yeah, because it would be stressful.
Sure.
It is stressful.
It is stressful.
Strange how endure stress is the one that I already had up there. That's odd.
Not like you've clicked it a bazillion times or anything.
Oh, you nailed it. Let's see.
Yep.
Come on.
Well, like
And
she
I'm-
said, she and Brom are used to this.
Yep. Oh, you rolled the oracle.
Oh, I did. Yes, rather than the move. Right. I guess. Right. I forgot to do the. I forgot to fail first. It's iron, right?
You just skip straight to it.
Spirit or iron, whichever is higher, I think.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh.
See, I knew it was coming.
Oof. What's your spirit right now, though?
My spirit.
It's gotta be
It's
better
been a
than
while.
Caradwin's.
It's probably not.
I mean, it's Bill.
Where is it? Right at the top here somewhere. Oh, actually, my spirit is up to 5. He's actually perfectly healthy. So, pardon me. That should have been. So, add 2 to
Should've
that.
been-
It should have been a 5
So a
instead
weak
of a
hit.
3. So,
So
it's a
weak
weak
hit.
hit. So, yeah. So yeah, he resists the urge to just flee because I mean that's really what he wants to do. It's really what he should do logically. He can't. He just. But yeah, he rides on behind Caradwin and he's slipping and sliding and banging his legs and getting cold and wet and miserable. But he just shuts up and lets her lead.
Yeah, and Caradwin, she's gonna embrace the darkness, taking momentum because I was at a 1 momentum at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's just letting all of this feel it. So I imagine sometime. Well, you said around midnight they'd make it to the purple X. So I imagine we'd converge around the same time.
Yes.
Although I suggest this is a good point to go to break.
I was just about to do so. Yep.
However, I've got one more cutscene I want to do before we go to break.
Take us out.
Are you taking anybody with you?
Nope. A scrying bowl shows an image over and over of Amala sitting in the middle of a dark glade. A wide fairy circle of tiny luminescent blue mushrooms around her, and a faint glow surrounds her invitingly. Her hands folded in her lap bear her piece of iron, and the markings on her arms glitter as though reflecting a flame. She sits, patiently waiting, as the stars rotate above her. Darkness reaches out to enfold her, and still she waits. Bone claws erupt from the earth around the circle, and still she sits. The shriek of a flesh monster splits the night and disperses into her stillness. Sticks and mud and skulls twist into a vortex and take shape to glower over her. Eye stalks come out and turn to peer at her from the gloom. And still she sits patiently. And a dark presence looms, pacing restlessly right along the edge of the circle, like a restless tiger eyeing prey it can't quite reach. Amala removes the markings from her arms, bundles them around the piece of iron, and sets it down in front of her. And a hand reaches out to dash the scrying bowl aside, but the bowl doesn't move. The image within still clear and undisturbed. Over and over.
And with
And
that,
we can go to break.
with that magnificent scene, thank you so much. That was beautiful. Ah, the gods have taken an interest. Maybe this is a good one. Maybe. We're 0-4 so far. Maybe this is an ally. Or not. Either way, we will be back in 15 minutes to see what the heck happens next. Apparently, there is a cat that requires some love in at least one location. So we will see you guys in 15 minutes. See you then. Thanks for watching. See you in a bit. We are back from the break, and somehow the tension didn't go away at all.
We're good at that.
We are at not a literal crossroads in this campaign, but we're certainly at a figurative one.
I'm playing all the adversaries tonight.
Yes, you are. So, approaching this
What
mystical
happens when you don't have a
purple
character?
cross, which everyone keeps speaking about.
I have 3 characters,
Yes.
2 of
This
which
is
you've
what
met.
this is what happens when we don't let her DM very as often as she'd like. I have so many, I need to let them out. So, Caradwin and Bill have traveled
Doing
through
the
the
sad
night.
trudge.
Yeah, trudging through the dark, snowy wilderness. And what happens next?
So it's about midnight, and um, Kira, the mountain lion, is is padding along and keeps looking back periodically at Gear carrying the bear.
And
How
it
small?
has now
Yeah,
gotten
how small's the
down
bear by now?
Yeah.
to where he can
Is
actually
it
carry it.
tardigrade size?
No, it's like a small cub. It's big enough for Gear to like double arm it, but it's still just like almost like it's trying to fall asleep, and every once in a while I'll have to jostle it to kind of keep it from fading
Don't shake the
entirely.
baby.
Shake the baby.
Shaken cub syndrome? No. We can do this. I rated the channel adult yesterday, so we're good.
You haven't done that long ago,
I
like
didn't.
when I was doing
No.
horrific things.
Nope. No, it was actual.
Finally
It was
caught up
actually
to me.
the.
Okay.
It was the internal fear brought on by running sexy battle wizards that actually caused me to put that up there. So,
Not
then
the
I thought,
scene
we
where
should just leave it. What happens on here the rest of the week? Let's just leave that there.
Not the scene where I turned my player character inside out and crucified him in the middle of the road.
No, that one
Or
slipped
the
through.
scene when I ripped. Yeah.
We'll fix it in editing. So
we're deep in the
Back
mountain
over.
woods, and the mountain lion Kira is padding along and looking back concernedly periodically at Gear and carrying the bear. And their den is just up over here. This stream that we're by, it's got some nice rocky places where it's easy to catch fish, and they're just in there. I'm sure they're asleep right now. It's all night. We haven't taken a rest. Are you sure you don't want to stop? Of course, you're a spirit. You probably don't want to stop.
Gear now kind of suspending this cub-sized ancient bear off the ground, just walks dead set forward.
I've never seen a shrinking bear before. I've seen growing bears. And I once saw this one squirrel that when it jumped off the tree, it spread out its legs and as if it were flying or gliding across, and it looked 3 times as big as it had before, but it did. Well, it sort of shrank when it got down to the end and landed, but I don't think that's the same.
Gear just...
Yes, practice.
Not all of my characters are like this, honest.
I love them when they are, though.
And Kira starts sort of padding back and forth across the path. It's like, do I have to go? I said I'd lead you. It's probably pretty clear from there. You can just go around the rock face right over there, and it'll. And she's sort of grumbling down in her chest and very agitated.
And you can hear noises a little bit down the mountain from where Carradine and Bill are struggling up the mountains. Not directly.
And I'm not gonna. Go ahead.
But it's not direct, like straight up the mountain, but it's like.
And I'm not holding that bear while you do it. You can set her down next to me. I'll keep an eye on her. But...
Gear is taking the bear with him. He's just dead set. And
probably hasn't even paused. Has just walked on past Kira and around the bed. And as you get around there, there's this nice little sheltered place where water trickles down around and comes down, and there's some nice rocky place, and you can see, yeah, this would be a pretty good fishing spot. And tucked right around the face, tucked in there is a smaller cave.
And
And
as
you can
Gear,
hear,
what?
you can hear bear breathing in there.
And so Gear will kind of set down, and in this kind of smaller cave, he'll have to kind of get down closer to the earth and tuck the bear underneath his arm and kind of move on his hands and knees through this small space. But as he does so, normally his human eyes can't see in this darkness, but he sees a few moving forms huddled together for warmth in these cold mountains. There is 3 brown orbs that are curled up surrounding this one smaller, runty silver orb. And
It's a big litter.
as he struggles his way through this opening, the noise alerts the small creatures, which of course react, and as all the heads turn to see what it is,
The mama
Gear
bear gives a sound.
brings forth this now cub-sized bear, and it doesn't even have the strength to stand up anymore. He is just holding it aloft as the bear cubs come close and begin to kind of nuzzle against it. And as its purpose is fulfilled, it begins to shrink into a silver dust that rests in Gear's hands. And he holds it out above the bears and sprinkles it across them. And he looks down. I almost don't feel right taking any of you with me. But this is far worse than what would happen if somebody else were to find you. Come now, follow me. And I'll start kind of backing out of this small hole. And as the cubs begin to kind of follow him, he looks down at this small kind of silver runt of the litter, and it's almost as if all of the exhaustion has been passed on to it, and it's already kind of weak in state. It is almost limping along, still getting used to this transition between generations. And so Gear will move to the river, and he will begin to gather a few fish. And as he does so, he sits and he watches these small cubs, knowing that this is the last time that they will see their silver brother, and hoping that they will have the skills that are necessary to survive in this area. he will spend the night as long as he can, watching over them.
which isn't very long.
Mm.
It never is.
So when you start moving towards fish, there's a large otter in the river that starts gathering the fish and bringing them to you. And one of the trips it comes and says, I don't know if you noticed, but the other one of your guardians is just down that way a ways. I mean, I assume the red crest is somewhere around here.
Yeah.
She'd have to be.
And so the
And so the
wolf
otter is pointing, so the otter is pointing down towards where the white mane is with this. And so, yeah, if you turn your attention that direction, the white mane is there
is
with
coming your direction.
And so,
kind of slightly obliquely, kind of going off to the side a little bit, but not very far away, like half a mile.
Bill and Caradwin would notice this first because the white mane is used to cool forests, sort of uneven terrain, not really mountainous, so it would be struggling in this, but it would, at full tilt, just tear off, scrambling and struggling and knocking things over, kind of bloodying itself on the rocks up into the trees.
And
What?
that would have been at the generation change.
It's finally gone mad, it has. Looking up the hill, watching the scramble, and
Do you think she'll be okay?
we got to go after the bloody thing, don't we?
I don't know if we can go that way.
It's crashed through and left a nice big trail.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is probably
Even
pretty
in the
steep.
middle of the night, Caradwin can follow that trail.
It's just how steep it is. That's, I think, is the question.
Well, I ain't falling off of this thing, and I'll drop down out of the saddle and start leading the horse along the trail, following the white mane.
Yeah, and Caradwin will do the same with Brom. She's a good rider, but not that good a rider.
Did I tell you about the dream I had? You know what I mean when I mean dream, right?
You disappeared for a while during that, yes?
Yeah, I didn't tell you about that, did I?
No, you didn't.
I went looking for gear in the shadows. And that bloody thing, and I look up and there's this big wolfy tail bounding off into the trees. That bugger kept getting in the way. I wonder what she's after now. It better not be just some snack. Slipping and crashing and banging her way up this hill.
After Malwind, and slipping feet and just horribleness. After Malwind, I went hunting with the white mane. And she was acting odd. I could have sworn she was acting a little like Gear, but it was just weird. For a split second, it felt like hunting with Gear.
I think I need another trip in the shadows, I do, but not right now. Right now we got shit to do, don't we?
Yes, we do, and I cannot carry your body through the mountains.
Fair enough, miss, fair enough. Let's get after that bloody wolf.
I think that was a kind way of saying, I hope you don't die.
Yeah, don't break your leg, I'll leave you here.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And we, I guess, follow the crashing.
We trudge through as the snow gets deeper as we go up, and the winds get blusterier, and the air gets colder, and feel like your nose is gonna fall off. It's so cold.
And it's not actually that far before it goes over a rise into sort of a sheltered dell. And before you get there, as the white mane comes crashing up and you can get so we can start hearing it, Kiara squawks and the eagle takes off up and flies up out of the river and is up into the trees, and then notices the red crest is there and squawks and switches over and goes over around the other side.
And as Gear kind of sits there with these small bear cubs climbing over each other over his leg, and he sits there holding this small silver ball of fur, there's a beating of wings as this large red owl comes by, and a scampering of foot pads as the white mane also comes up, and he holds it out to all of them. And there's this moment that they get close and they look down at this new creature, this born again creature, and there's this curiosity as the white mane gets close and the red crest kind of narrows her eyes. Curiosity at something new, but familiarity of something that they've almost always known. There's a recognition.
And they had felt the spark of the mother before.
Of this new creature to be protected.
And the white
And then you hear the
before when
huffing.
we carried that egg around.
And then you hear the huffing and puffing of people and horses and like.
Yeah, so as we come over the hill, the bridge, and look down in there, what do we actually see?
Just before you guys would break the area, Gear would hear you coming, and he would take this small creature, and he would hand it to the white mane and say, "Take this to Garrett," and the white mane would reach down ever so gently and scruff it by the back of the neck.
Yeah.
And lift it up out of his hands. And so as you break through the kind of snowbank, pushing your way through this area, you would see the red crest sitting there, wings open, with 3 brown bear cubs clinging to her heat, and the white mane standing there holding a silver ball of fur from her mouth.
All right, don't eat it, come on, give it here. It's me you're talking to, big silver stinky fucker. Now give me that thing.
Then he
Right
really
by
isn't-
you.
Just backing away.
It was given a direct order, and it
Yep.
kind of scooches around you.
Yeah.
And probably the person who least wants it has to deal with the white mane getting right up in their face like, "Here, this thing is yours now. You're here."
and she will.
Drop
Hold it.
silver fluff in your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it's a bear cub, so it's gonna be rather hefty. It's still
Yeah,
small, but it's gonna
This
be.
one's pretty
It's,
tiny.
it's gonna be small, but it's not like a teeny tiny like.
No.
It
egg.
was I
And it
pictured
looks up
just
at you and
this.
goes, because they do. They make a horribly sad little sound.
And she'll kind of look at the white man and look at Green Bay. It's another spirit.
And there are those crystal blue eyes, those knowing eyes looking directly back at you.
And she'll kind of just hold the bear as it like does that cat thing that's like, like no, she doesn't. No, she holds it like she'll hold it like she's, and just she'll kind of like just wrap like the side of her cloak or kind of around it, and then look to Bill, not Gear, and say, perhaps we should take a rest here for light. A few hours.
And it's like he hasn't been listening to what you said, and then you just hear, there's hope after all. We ain't lost yet, miss.
What do you mean? Just trying to keep the bear from like
Yeah.
eating her clothes.
Even if this arsehole don't think I'm going to make a very good father, and he bumps the wolf, it appears it thinks you're going to be a damn fine mother.
Perhaps caregiver or mother is a strong term.
Well, it makes sense to me, miss. If I ever met a bear in human form, it's you. I mean, don't take that the wrong way.
I will choose to take it as a compliment.
So it was meant, miss. Tenacious, strong, powerful,
Scary.
scary. Doesn't smell as bad as the dog.
And there is a god awful raucous up in the top of one of the trees, just not far from you.
Oh God, it's another one.
And it's the crows hassling that eagle again.
Does that
And
sound
it's
like a
bounding
Mahler's
at them and
crows?
going off and a piercing cry, and of course Gear hears her swearing about pesky spirits and their flocks of pesky crows, and it's like
Gear.
Yeah,
Music to Gear's ears.
yeah. Yeah, Bill is definitely sort of looking around and taking all of this in. We're not
and the
done by a
eagle
long
comes
sight.
up and the piercing cry right in the face of the red crest. This is all your fault. I know this is all your fault. Ah, get away, you
And so
Well, yeah.
the Red Crest would move to rejoin with you guys. This would the White Mane, but Gear would not. So Gear would
Can't see Gear.
he would stay behind.
Kira can see
Yeah.
Gear.
Staying with the bear cubs to teach them how to bear. Yeah.
Caradwin will empty some of her stuff from her pack into her saddlebags and then took the bear cubs in her
Aw.
pack
He's riding feet style.
until he's too big.
Which should be
Which
about
is
12 hours.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it will also help
Alright.
keep him warm because she can like put the blanket over his head.
So we were, you suggested we were going to take a rest, right? Or at least just like a couple hours
Yeah, wait
until dawn.
because it's midnight-ish and like it's dark and so we're climbing mountains and so like just
We're also well off the trail now because we climbed up to where they were. So.
yeah.
Do you make a fire?
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In the
Yes.
cold, you bet.
We'll make a fire.
Actually,
Should
make
have a
camp.
rope.
And I don't know. One of the times the eagle comes by and these fish just sort of appear.
Plop plop.
That's the weird
Nothing to do
bird
with
I was
me.
telling you about.
Right.
This
It's
She
wow.
has 2 skills:
You don't think
hunting
that
and camp.
you don't think that bird's one of them, do you? 2 in one day seems a bit much.
I don't know.
It has black eyes, not. I think it has black eyes. I need to double check, but I don't think it has.
Does now, yeah.
I don't think so. It doesn't feel the same.
No, it don't, and the crows don't like it much, do they?
No.
Speaking of them crows,
Oh, sorry, golden eyes.
golden eyes, still not blue, yeah.
Golden eyes, not piercing blue.
Nope.
No, golden eyes.
Just
Not
golden
like
eyes, yeah.
knowledgeable eyes.
Nope.
No,
Nope.
just raptor eyes, yeah.
In fact, they're kind of dumb.
But speaking of
I
the
can
crows,
still pester you out of the way.
you said speaking of the crows.
Well, miss, we ain't used to seeing that many of them except when a certain someone's about, right?
Yeah. Actually, on what little of my watch happened, I tried to find the tether again, and it's there, and it still feels like it's pulled everywhere and nowhere, but there was a something going northwest. I don't know what, but I mean, that is the direction of Frostmouth and Wasteward and the Shattered Wastes. So,
Then that's, I guess, where we're going.
yeah.
There's something I want to do before we leave here tonight. I mean, we ain't getting no rest anyway. And in his own stumbling way and in the snow, Bill is trying to draw a circle as close to as he remembers Amala's circles. And when he's done, he looks at Caradwin and he says, "We ain't got but half of us. You're going to have to take that whole side."
Yeah.
"I don't know how this works, miss, but I'm just going to sit here and think real hard about the ones we lost. And I hope them crows will tell us something we didn't know before."
Maybe.
"Well, there goes then." And Bill is completely blind, going to try and do a augury. I don't even know what to roll.
It's probably wits.
Wits.
It is? Okay, that's a good start. And
Most rituals are wits.
no modifiers whatsoever, because this is the first time he's ever tried it. Oh yeah, that
That's as
momentum
close
is
as
burnt.
possible.
That momentum is burned. Absolutely.
What do you ask?
Strong hit.
What do you
Yeah.
ask? As the crows start converging and start circling around you, Strong Kai in the lead.
Can we get at least one of them back, please?
You needed to roll the one where they laugh at you and tell you asked the wrong question.
It doesn't have to be now.
It doesn't have to be now. And this is an augury. I mean, that's not even a legitimate augury question. Bill doesn't know, right? That's not a legitimate question. So it was a request. That's not how this works. So what the crows do is entirely up to you. Yeah.
So the crows are circling around and they come to a stop. And Strongcaw comes up to you and starts scolding the heck out of you. And she's whapping at you and all that. And there's this piercing cry that
One of the birds is laughing.
Gear can hear the eagle is just laughing, thinks this is hilarious. Someone else is getting hassled by the crows.
Yeah, and Bill is just taking it. I mean, feathers flying, bruises forming all over him, doesn't care. He's just taking it.
So Strong Ka then circles around the white mane and around the red crest and around the bag that has the bear and comes back and starts scolding Bill again. And then she huffs back into her circle.
And you watch as Caradwin, kind of her pack on the front with the bear in it, huddling it for warmth. The tall red owl, its wings tucked in, and the white mane sit across from you.
And Strongcod does also send a glare over at Spirit Gear.
And you see
Like,
these...
you should be here too, mister.
3 prominent figures. But in the flicker of the shadow, or of the fire, You see there are 4 shadows.
I'm not sure how to say thank you, Stormcaw, but you can sure stop beating me around the head and shoulders now.
Squawking. Slap off.
I'm sorry, little one. I'm a bit of an idiot when it comes to birds. Did you see that, Miss Caradwin?
The bird hit you. Yes, I saw that.
No, I meant the 4th shadow, miss.
And she kind of looked, because she was on that side with
Yeah.
them. No? What do you mean?
At least one of them ain't gone, miss. He's just not here.
He's not gone, but he's gone.
And you feel kind of a sweat in your back, in your pack from feet.
Me or him?
Yeah.
Bill.
Bill,
Okay.
Mhm.
Like, idiot.
but you would hear the crunching of things coming your way. As Gear's now standing by the fire, Caradwin, from your position with the pack on the front of you,
Mhm.
you would hear the crunching of 3 small, very curious bear cubs coming over the snowbanks into the circle to come see what the fire and the people are all talking about.
Just flicked him the fish that have been laying in the snow since the bird got here earlier.
And they're curious, and they're quite a bit bigger than the silver one, but they're trying to climb on things and check you out and throwing their weight around, so you're getting jostled by all of
Yeah.
these curious creatures.
Brom and the other horse are just in the background, like,
The other horse is like, oh man, they keep coming, and Brom goes, yeah, tell me about it, man.
there's more of them every time.
And just to put a bow on it, Bill reaches out and breaks the circle of the that he asked of the augury. I think she called you Stormcrow once or twice. Thank you. Thank you for showing this old idiot that there's still hope. So,
Caradwin will take some snow and try to, like, clean off the white Wolfrin's muzzle.
Oh yeah, it's gonna love that.
She'll try. If it really doesn't want it, she'll stop. But
It does the dog thing where they just like go limp.
just die. Yeah. I
then
am
she'll just
killed.
keep doing it, man. If it's not
Yeah.
gonna move away, she'll just keep doing it.
Like the
Just laying in the
pouting
snow
husky.
just sighing heavily, rolling its big wolfy eyes.
And Gear and the spirits would hear the eagle say, oh, hey! And she takes off.
And Gear will sit and watch and listen. And while Bill and Caradwin sleep, Gear will listen for danger through the
Sleep,
whole night.
cat nap.
Mhm. Huddle in the cold next to the horses, whatever it is.
Huddle in the cold. You've got 2 horses, a wolf, an owl,
Yeah,
and
we've got a
4
dog
bear
pile
cubs.
You've got
here.
I was
plenty
gonna
of
say, but
heat
every time we
generators
try and
there.
get still, the 4 bear cubs start crawling all over everything, and yeah.
You get a bear butt in your face.
Yeah.
You got
And it's
plenty of
Bill's.
heat around.
Boom, boom, tsh.
Caradwin reaches for her bow.
Too many fun shots. Yeah. So,
And
thus
as
passes the
sun
rest of the
comes
evening,
up-
or
Are you two
You guys.
keeping a watch? Are you two setting a watch?
No, I imagine it's more of a pass out, wake up again situation.
Yeah.
Like we're not
Yeah.
actually going to sleep at any point. We're not actually like camped out. We're just kind of like
just
passing in
stopped
and out.
for the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's too dark to move.
Yeah.
So shortly before dawn, Gear
Oh, that's
would
me.
hear in the distance, coming closer, the chattering of Kira talking to somebody and going on and on and on about various experiences she's had, and occasionally mentioning or describing this group here and all, but then going off on tangents and all of this. They're still at a little bit of a distance, but they are coming up closer. What does Gear do?
You're sitting there cross-legged,
Praying for the first time.
silent sentinel guarding his allies through the night. Upon hearing this, he cracks his eyes open and looks at Caradwin's bow.
You can't wield that.
You can't touch it.
And then he will stand up. The bear cubs are probably up at this point now, moving around, and so he will begin to kind of move around the circle, not leaving too far, but waiting for the commotion to approach as he is moving around now under kind of pre-dawn light, assessing this small valley for bear resources, I guess.
Bear sources.
And you hear occasionally, as they come closer, you occasionally hear a soft voice. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. As Kira chatters on and on and on and on and on. Oh, and they're just up here. Okay. I should probably come in quietly. And a woman comes up to camp. Very tall woman. Shh, Kira, I don't think they're awake yet. You might want to keep it down. I don't know if I whispered that loud enough for the mic to be heard.
Is she corporeal or is she spirit? Okay.
She's corporeal. She's just a human woman.
Gear is kind of watching from the shadows as these. Every time a bear cub creeps up the trunk, he just.
So she comes in and she sees them sleeping, and she comes up and she gathers up some wood and starts stoking up the fire. And
With movement, Caradwin will kind of like get more alert. Who are you?
oh, hello. I'm sorry to startle you. Kira here brought me in. I hope you don't mind. I'm Tahiri.
I'm sorry, who brought you in?
Kira? And you hear a piercing cry, and that owl lands down. Or not owl, that eagle lands down next to her. Kira.
Oh, the bird.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Am I awake?
So I think the bird.
I was just I'm sorry to intrude on your camp here. I thought, as long as I'd here, I built up the fire to warm up some. It looks like you have coffee here and fish. I'll warm some of that up for you. You can have a warm breakfast.
What was your name again?
Tahiri.
Harry.
And the bird brought you here.
Yes, I was heading up cross country and heading towards Frostmouth, I think, is where I'm going. But
Why Frostman?
Kira, well, at least I think it's that direction. I know I'm heading north, and I know that Frostmouth is up that way.
For a disturbance that's happening?
Yes.
An attack?
Well, I don't know about that, but I know that the trolls were fussing about it, and they were very insistent, but they didn't want to come themselves, and they don't tend to involve themselves so much. So I said, sure, I'd go check it out.
There's a supposed attack coming to Frostmouth, including an iron poisoned wyvern and
Now, that doesn't sound very good.
some men made of metal.
That definitely doesn't sound very good.
No, it's not. Trolls.
Yeah, but I was just down. I was on a trail down along the river along there, and Kira came up to me and started chattering about some people that were here, and some guardians and some spirits, and
Well, we
she kept
definitely have
pestering me to
spirits.
come, and and Gear can hear Kira say, well, I didn't say it quite exactly like that, but I did sort of describe it and thought you might want to come too. I mean, because if everybody's just here, you might as well all be here together. And it's like, yeah, and you can sort of see the bird sort of jumping around a little bit. It's like, yeah, yes, Kira, we know.
You can talk to her.
Unfortunately, yes.
Well, we do have spirits, as you can probably see. And she'll kind of like pick up the silver bear and keep it from like going too close to the fire, like pick it up and go back.
And she looks over and it's like, yeah, she looks at the bear and the other bears, and she looks at the red crest, and she looks at the white mane, and she looks over at Gear, and she's going, yeah, I see.
Yeah. I'm Caradwin.
It's so very nice to meet you.
And
Are
I'm
you on your
Bill.
way to Frostmouth too? It's so very nice to meet you, Bill. And you're on your way to Frostmouth too?
Yes.
We are.
Yes.
Is that fish warm yet?
I doubt it. I only just started it. I only just put it on.
I'll eat it anyway.
But it looked like you'd already cooked it last night, so I'm just reheating it.
I'll just have a bit cold then while the rest gets warm.
It's frozen. Bill's just like,
Warm it up and put it in your mouth. Yeah.
A
And
fishsicle.
Kira's going, oh, for heaven's sakes. And she takes off. She's going to go fishing some more. Well, actually, the fish isn't right. Oh. Where did you guys make camp?
Wherever the bear cubs were.
So
A-
you're
a
in their
little bit.
protected dell.
Yes. Yeah, we're right outside the cave. I think. That's where we
Okay.
would have found these
So
guys. Yeah.
there's a piercing cry from the eagle. She gets up, she flaps, and starts diving down into the water. And by the time she hits the water, she's an otter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh yeah, you would actually see that because you're right there.
Well,
Right.
that's new.
And that's not one of these then?
What's new?
Pointing at these the spirit animals we know.
An animal that changes.
Kira? She's not. Well, I mean, I suppose she's not really an animal.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to spell it out.
Oh, she's a
For us.
puka.
That did not
The
answer.
golden eyes, the black markings in her. She's a pest. That's all you need to know.
Okay.
Oh, wow. A puka. Deadlands flashback.
You said something about the trolls.
Yes. They tend to be. They tend not to think very well of most of the human folk, and not most, and even most of the firstborn. They're kind of shy, but they do talk to me. I've traded with them off and on as I've passed through their territory. And about 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, they were all in a flurry that something had happened, and they were trying to explain it to me, and I was trying to understand it, but they kept saying it's off to the north, and so I'm heading that direction to find out what's up.
Well, we'll be heading that direction soon, just now that it's getting light out.
Yeah, you seem to have quite a menagerie here.
And it's grown.
Speaking of which, how is it you can talk to some of these things?
Well, I don't actually completely know. I know that I am called to places, and when I get there, I have what I need to do. And so if I need to talk with them, I can.
Right. There is hope, Miss Caradwin, there really is.
Hope for
Well, we're
what?
still going to Frostmouth, so, you know,
Oh,
there's only
yes,
so
we
much hope we
are.
can have.
Oh, yes, we are. But we're doing it with hope now.
I'm not sure. I don't think I have been to Frostmouth. That's further north than I tend to travel, but I have heard of it, of course.
Yes, it's where I'm from.
Ah, that explains why you're heading that way.
Among other things, including the wyverns, I guess.
Wyvern. You said a wyvern, an iron. What did you?
Iron speared wyvern. We believe it's also one of the spirit animals that has been corrupted by someone harnessing iron.
That sounds rather troubling.
Yes, it is, from what I understand. If Gear were here, he'd have probably a better idea. But
Gears by the
Whose
river.
gear? Whose gear?
we recently lost 2 people from our 4-person circle.
I'm so
He
sorry.
was more in touch with the spirits.
Like that one
Raven.
over there? And she points at Gear.
Who is by the river. Every time one of the bears goes to catch a fish and falls in, he just kind of reaches down and fishes it out.
That's a bear.
No, not the bear. The spirit that keeps fishing the bear out. The one Kira's talking to right now.
I'm
And yeah, there's the
sorry,
otter.
what?
There is an otter over there chattering away at Gear, explaining that you're doing the fishing wrong.
I'm sorry, spirit?
Mm-hmm.
You watch as all
Big
of
guy, covered in pelts, claws.
you guys look and you
That's
see
the one.
all 3 of the bear cubs kind of huddle together for a minute, facing away from the river, turn, and jump on the otter.
And the otter squawks and dives.
There's just 3
Carradine
little
will-
bear bums in the water trying to swim underneath and they keep bobbing back up.
Carradine will look to
and
Bill.
Tahiri just starts laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has Kira's number.
Getting hunting lessons.
Bill, do you understand any of this?
I think I do, miss. It's what I was telling you earlier. He's here, but he ain't here. We can't see him none.
Spirit. Okay. I guess that's helpful.
Oh,
What does
I
Gear
know.
make of being seen?
Hang on a second. Oi! Dog boy, can you lift up one of them bears and hold it up in the air for a minute?
And Terry's just looking at Bill all puzzled. It's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Tahiri sees Gear like,
I'm about to get punched by a spirit. I'll take that as proof that he's still alive.
She puts her hand over her mouth and starts.
Yeah.
Garrison
starts
pinches the
laughing.
bridge of her nose.
I gather that's an inside joke among you.
Gear would be dog boy.
He smells like dog,
Yeah,
miss.
no, he doesn't seem to like. No, he seems to dispute that.
Is
He is there then.
the guardian.
Does he look real angry,
the
miss?
Wolfren?
Does he look real angry?
Well, he was cracking his knuckles.
he looks pretty annoyed.
I would say more annoyed than angry.
That's nothing new.
Well, it is him then. Hey, Gear, come on over by the fire. I don't know if the heat'll do you any good, but them bears could probably use a thawing out.
As they're crawling out waterlogged.
They've got pretty thick, nice,
Oh yeah.
oiled fur.
And so,
and they're
as
playing in the water. They're doing fine.
Bill is kind of set down by the fire, seeing if anything happens, 3 sloshing bear cubs come over by the fire and begin to shake violently.
And
Harrigan's just making sure the silver one doesn't like waddle into the fire.
and Kira back in eagle form comes up and perches down and shrieks at them from the opposite side of the fire. She's kind of over between Bill and Caradwood. So there, pesky bears, almost as bad as those crows.
The silver
And-
bear, it's a pyro. It's canon.
Bill's just
No, he just wants to get warm. She's like,
howling.
not that warm.
Bill is just howling with laughter and playing with these bear cubs. He's here, miss, he's here. Is he in this one? No, is he in this one? How about this one? Is he in you? And he's looking at all the other spirit animals.
And Tahiri's looking at you like you've gone stark raving mad.
But yeah, because he's
So-
right there.
it's- Well, and Carrot was just watching Bill like he's gone crazy too. Because like
Yeah.
even though she heard Tahiri say it,
Okay, well,
is he in any of the animals, or is he actually
You're
just himself? Gear
He
is-
was just himself. Is he still just himself? Yeah, he's just himself.
Okay, so
I mean,
Bill's just
Kira
weird.
does collect interesting people. I will give her that.
Reminds me of Amala,
Who's Amala?
our shaman.
I don't
She was
I don't
one
see
of
a shaman.
we lost her. I think she is somewhere, not here. Our tether is pointed everywhere and nowhere and northwest. And
You have a tether with her. I've heard of those. I've never seen anyone who actually had a tether.
she created it when she started experimenting with Shadow. I don't know a lot about rituals, but
I don't either. But they seem pretty potent at times.
yeah.
Well, so what do you expect to find at Frostma? You said the wyvern.
The wyvern, potentially 3 metal men,
Metal men. What do you mean by metal men?
men made of iron. They do things like give you this, and she'll like point to her scars.
Oh, that looks unpleasant.
And deadly. And there was one, at least, person who was riding the wyvern, an iron collector. And I mean, who knows? Knowing our luck, Callisto will show up there.
And who's Callista?
An evil, dark entity of shadow.
You just know all the pleasant people, don't you?
Unfortunately.
Let's see, who do I know? I know a few trolls. I've mostly traded with, where's my bio page? It isn't in my bio page. Where did I put it? Bonds. I put it under bonds. Let's see. I mostly know Snuffle and Brusk among the trolls, although I've met a few of their cousins. I know the Michael clan of the Varu. I come from the circle of Gallus Quag. However, I was banished from there. But
Why were you banished?
well, I was banished. I was young. I was angry and resentful and felt my efforts were underappreciated, although that was some time ago, and I can see that the elders had a point. It took me a while of being out on my own, and I figured that they would miss me, but I don't know, they probably didn't. I've learned to be more self-reliant and to be of actual value to myself and some friends. You know, it comes with growing older. I'm sure you've experienced the same. And she looks to be mid-30s, maybe?
Okay, so just a little bit older than Caradwin and Gear.
Yeah.
While listening to all of this, Bill is eating his breakfast, and then he stops and looks over to where the person who can see Gear was looking, and puts half a plate of food where Gear was sitting. It's good to have you
Ooh,
back,
that
friend.
looks tasty.
And I'm sure that between the
And
harpy
the bird.
and the bear
Harpy is
cubs
a
and
really
everything
good
else.
Eagle comes
word.
up and says, "Okay, you're not so." And her wing sort of pate. You're not so bad after all, leaving gifts and all
It's
for
not.
me.
It's not for right because it's already gone. I mean, like 2 gulps and it's gone. I'm sure, but it's good to have you back.
I don't know if the pun like just got
Ew.
me.
Mm.
Harpy
Mm-hmm.
eagle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh. We'll blame that on 3 weeks of serious OChem study.
Oh
I,
god.
I did choose it deliberately. I will confess.
Oh good god.
So, I know we're a little early, but I am detecting some tired faces in this group, and I know a number of people have had very trying weeks in many ways. I know some of us are struggling to breathe in the smoke. Some of us have just moved. Some of us have had no sleep in a month's worth of organic chemistry. And so
And this is a
we would,
relatively happy note.
yes, on this relatively happy note, one of our dead is not here, but at least they're still here. So, and there's hope for the other one.
Sorry,
So,
Gear, I
with that,
outed you.
probably the happiest ending we've had in a while. Thank you all for joining us, and we will drop the curtain on today just in time to talk to these amazing and wonderful people about what they do when they're not here. I'm going to start below me here because Droopy here looks like he's about to pass the hell out. Austin, tell us what you're doing when you're not here, dude.
I did quite a bit of writing today for my Tuesday night group. I'm not even starting in the right order. I play with a group of DMs on Monday. We played D&D 5th edition. It's quite a bit of fun. I have to do some writing for that group as well. Tuesday night I play with Miss Cara, Sophia, and a couple other players, and have done a bit more writing on our adventures in the walled city. And Wednesday I play with most of these people, and Thursday I'm here doing this. Somewhere in all 4 of those days I find time for biochemistry and organic chemistry.
And work.
Somehow.
And
then you
eating
work.
and apparently occasionally catching a nap here and there. And yes, and a humongously difficult and challenging job.
Which is why I always smell like dog.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Austin, so much for taking time out of that week to come and play with us.
Yeah.
It's every week. I appreciate that very much. Let's just do the circle backwards tonight. Karis, last time we spoke, you were somewhat limited in what you were producing. Has that changed? Are we back on a full schedule, or?
Well, I had about a week of drenching rain that cleared out the air, and I could breathe. And the rain cleared up, and so the smoke's back. Well, actually, this is new smoke from the Northern California fires.
Right.
So I don't know, but I got to be the scary lady on Tuesday.
Yes, you
So
did. You got to
much
be many people today. That was excellent. I
Well,
love
but
it.
on Tuesday I got to be the scary lady, and that was fun. I got to pull out
Oh,
the
yeah.
horror stops and nailed an intimidation, and
Oh yeah.
with a guy who was dangling off of with a guy who was dangling off of our assassin's dagger blade. So yeah, it was
Nice,
so much
nice.
fun.
Oh yes.
For those that don't know, the Tuesday game is some players from here and some players from some other games got together and said to Austin, "We hear you're kind of dark. Yeah, we'd like to go down a hole." This is people that play in my games went to Austin and said, "We hear you're kind of dark. We'd like you to go down a hole with us, please." And he very graciously took them there. And I keep getting these snippets of stories, and they're horrific. And I am very, very happy to hear them, and I love it very much.
And that's in the context of this game. They're horrific.
Yes, compared to this, it's dark. I know.
And I think I dragged the players down there with me because last night
I think there was some
introduced
mutual
this-
dragging. This is like two anchors tied together going deep. I mean, yeah.
there's this friendly NPC that comes
Yeah.
in and helps them fight off this wave of undead. And what
And
do they
that's who
do?
was dangling off the
They
assassin's
wait.
side.
They
killed him,
wait
of course,
until
yeah.
everybody is all the bad guys are dead, and then the assassin player stabs the NPC in the back, lifts him off the ground, and they interrogate him by knife point.
And then
That
we
was
scare him up
interesting.
and say, "Go!" and chase him up, and it's like, okay, I think we got their attention. That's what we wanted. So
Wow.
so much fun.
At the same time, I made somebody forget about their loved one, stole their memory, and they took on the appearance of an avenging angel.
Excellent.
And then another player, I twisted a bunch of strings on how they thought their best friend was the cause of their current situation. So it's a lot of fun.
And I got to be
And
the scary lady. I adore being the scary lady.
oh yes,
Too
your
many
range,
puns.
Karis, always amazes me. You can be something as outrageously crazy as this harpy eagle, and then you can play the evil mistress in the heart of her dungeon with equal ease, and I'm always impressed when I see that. Thank you so much for
It's so
playing with
much
us.
fun.
And
Oh,
Robin,
and
oh
wholesome
yeah,
Karis goes off and plays Minecraft sometimes.
oh yes, of course, with children, as I understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Children don't always take cookies from grandmas. Some of them are scary. Not this one. This one's wonderful, but some of them.
There, I have
Uh,
cookies.
you have cookies. You always do. Some of them aren't even poisoned. Oh,
Most of them
Robin,
aren't
Robin,
poison.
Robin. That leaves you. And first, tell us where we can find your current art, and
My
then tell
current
the fine people what your slave master me has asked you to do.
First of all, I volunteered. Secondly, you can find my art at Thunderscape7, mostly on Twitter, but I've got Facebook, Tumblr, DeviantArt,
All the
anything else.
places. Yeah,
All the
all the
places. I'm
places.
Thunderscape7 on most of them, and that's where I put a lot of my art. I'll do that, for Ironsworn and all the like. It's been kind of put on hold for the last half a month because I have been moving, and that is a process. But
Yes.
And
yeah,
a
so that's
half.
where my current stuff is. Yes, the process and a half. But also this kind of segues into Kevin's. Also, he is starting a new game soon, and I will be doing art for his new Starfinder game. Not for the first initial set of episodes, but as it goes on.
Got to give you some time to do it, especially
Yeah, I don't
considering
even
we're
have my
not paying
drawing
you.
tablet
So,
untapped. My drawing tablet is still somewhere. I don't know.
somewhere in the past. So that's okay because we have very generously provided you with a 5 week lead time, which any artist will be happy to tell you is plenty of time to draw, 12 or 14 images. Nothing to it. Easy. All you've got to do
I
is not sleep.
volunteered.
You volunteered, and what have I done to you? Anyway, speaking of that show, anything else? Anything else you're part of?
The our wiki for Ironsworn
Yes,
is one of
yes.
the things I kind of curate throughout the week, as well as I've been a new-ish contributor to the Start Adventurer blog.
Yes, over with
Again,
some
put on
fine
hold
folks.
because of the move.
Absolutely, yeah. The
TM.
best part about that blog is that there are at least three of you there, all of
There's at
whom are
least
sort of. Is there
5.
four? There's
Actually,
5 now.
there's
Wonderful.
at least 5 or 6. Yeah.
Because I know three of you, and you guys are incredibly creative, but it's sort of sporadic. So with that many of you on there, there's something new all the time. It's wonderful. It's incredible, and it all sort of has a similar feel to it. There's a certain color put on it by the owner of that particular blog, and it is you guys are all very consistent to it. Which I guess leaves me.
Yeah.
And on Mondays, over on Mercs of Mischief, I play Guy in a crazy world-crossing adventure. There's 2 Guys now, at least one of which may or may not have multiple personalities. So come watch that. That's going to be fun. On Wednesdays, I play with a couple of these folks in a non-stream game. On Thursdays, earlier today, I help new people learn how to play D&D. Which is incredible fun. And earlier today, I got to bring a member of our Wednesday night game. 2 of the people here are in that is not normally streamed. And I got to bring a person who was a brand new player to D&D 2 years ago when he applied for my ad on Roll20 that said, "Are you a noob? If you never played, please come play with me." He bravely responded to that. And 2 years later, well, he got to be Doctor Who for 2 hours this afternoon. Basically, as one of his own characters, he got to break time and space as he so chose. And in the process, taking 3 brand new players to D&D on an adventure that I am sure they will never, ever forget as they save the multiverse. And I'm really happy with how that worked out. Thursdays, I come here and drag my soul through the darkness with these wonderful people. And then Fridays to make up for that, I do Fun Shot Fridays. Not tomorrow because I have a real world meeting and that sucks because I could really use a funny tomorrow. But most Fridays, 3 out of 4 Fridays, we do Fun Shot Fridays where it's ridiculous one shots with no consequences and lots of fun. Those are a blast. And then I've been talking
No
and talking and talking and
consequences?
giggling and giggling, getting faster and faster because I'm really, really excited about this Saturday. We're going to start a Starfinder game, a serious old school science fiction game. So if you know what I'm talking about when I say Isaac Asimov, Frank Herbert, Robert Sterling, when you know those names, this is hello face in the corner of Austin's picture.
Star
If you know
Trek.
those names, then you're going to love this show. Pop in Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern start time for Starfinder game. There's a 5-session prequel that happens and then a 10-session season. So we see how that all turns out. Very excited about it. And as mentioned earlier, the 10-session season, the character art will be done by our very own Robin / Thunderscape 7. I'm very much looking forward to that. So with that, I think we're down to the 5 thank yous and the close. So the 5 thank yous, let's go back around the circle the other way. Robin, thank you so much for everything you do in game and out of game for this game and my other games. You have been indispensable to me for I don't know how long now. And I don't thank you enough. So thank you for everything that you've done for me here and elsewhere. Karis, thank you. This Harpy Eagle, I am seriously writing a one shot of anthropomorphized wild animals so that you can play this magnificent Harpy Eagle for a couple hours one night with no consequences. So I'm looking forward to that very, very much. And I hope
At least now you know she's a puka.
Yes. Oh, that was wow. I had one in my Deadlands game, so as soon as you said that, I started flashing back. So it was wonderful. Other than that, I hope the wind blows and I hope the rain falls. And I know that sounds weird, but that's what I'm hoping for, so you can breathe. So here's for that for the next week for you. And thank you for fighting through all that and going through, I think, 3 or 4 cups of tea tonight to be able to speak. I appreciate it very much.
Doing my best and it's out and I'm fading.
Yeah, I'll bet. And yeah. And there's
Fighting
the
the
smoke
cough.
getting to you, so we'll let you go. And thank you to Austin, man. I don't know how you do the week you do. Never mind, come here and then be this creative off the top of your head. I appreciate every second that you're here, man. Thank you so much. This wouldn't be the darkness it is without you. So thank you. I mean, it would be dark. Don't get me wrong. We've got a chorus, but you just the two of you are
Cute,
just
sweet,
it's
innocent,
wonderful.
adorable, darling little me.
We know your
it is
secret.
so rare for me to be one of the positive lights in the storytelling element of any adventure that I am enjoying this like you wouldn't believe.
Don't shift it all off of Robin either. Every once in a
Oh,
while,
no, there's the
she'll
darkness
shift me
going-
in the
There's
side,
more
and
than
I'm
enough
like,
darkness
oh
to go
yeah,
around.
huh?
Yeah. And when it comes out of Robin,
I
it's
come
always
I
such a
come around the
shock,
back.
right? It's-
I come around the back and just
yeah, I keep
and
thinking
then come
she's such a nice person. So she's, where the fuck did that come from? Pardon my language, but yeah,
I
it's
think
always
my
a shock.
favorite part is I'll come up with something really dark, and all you guys are like, ooh, and Robin's like, no, fuck it, do it.
And the final 2 thank yous. Thank you for everybody that watched tonight for the raid. If any of you are still here, thank you for hanging around. Anybody who's still out there watching on Twitch, thank you. Appreciate you watching to the end. And the final thank you to anybody who's watching this in the future on YouTube. I know that's where most of the people see it. So to the many who do show up and watch this voluntarily, thank you so much from the bottom of all of our hearts. And until next week, please be nice to each other. Good night.